Defense wins championships. Throughout the history of sports, an age-long question has always been, is it better to have a better offense or a better defense? In football, do you want to have a high-powered offense full of speed and power that can score at will with a clutch quarterback, or is it better for you to have a dominating defense that punishes their opponents and controls the game? In baseball, is it better for you to have a team full of sluggers who hits home runs, scores runs, and drives in RBIs? Or is it more beneficial for your team to have a dominating pitching staff that can get you that one-run win game every single night? While it is always impressive to look at stats in the NFL, and the chicks dig the long ball in baseball, in the end, defense wins championships. February 2nd, 2014, the Seattle Seahawks played the Denver Broncos in Super Bowl 48. The Seahawks won that game 43-8 in one of the most lopsided victories in Super Bowl history. The Seahawks defense gave up a total of 8 points, and they scored a total of 9 points. This means they could have won the game without their offense scoring a single point the whole game. What makes this Super Bowl special was that it was the #1 ranked scoring defense versus the #1 ranked scoring offense. Now, the Seahawks forced a total of 4 fumbles and 2 interceptions, which totally changed the outcome of the game as they dominated one of the most successful offenses in NFL history. The Seahawks defense scored on the first play of the game on a safety and also on a 62-yard interception return for a touchdown by Malcolm Smith. Looking at the Seahawks defense over the year, they only allowed 231 points over 19 games, averaging 14.4 points per game, first in the NFL. They were second in the NFL, totaling 186-point differential between their offense and defense. Throughout the history of the Super Bowl, the top offense and the top defense have faced off 4 times. During that 4 times, the top defense has won 3 of them. In Super Bowl 13, the top-ranked defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the top-ranked defense of the Dallas Cowboys. In Super Bowl 14, the top-ranked 49ers beat the top-ranked offensive team, the Miami Dolphins. The 49ers were #1 in points allowed, while the Dolphins were #1 in offensive points scored. In Super Bowl 25, the New York Giants, who were the #1 defense that year, beat the #1 offensive-ranked Buffalo Bills. And finally, in Super Bowl 38, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were #1 in yards allowed on defense, beat the Oakland Raiders, who were #1 in yards gained per game on offense. Looking at baseball, it is a common argument to argue what is better for your team, pitching or hitting. What brings a greater success rate? According to the Bleacher Report, from 2003 to 2012, all the World Series winners ranked higher in their pitching stats overall than they did in their hitting stats. A quote from that says this: "Alas, when determining whether hitting or pitching really wins championships, the numbers are not overwhelmingly conclusive in favor of either. The arms, though, which is pitching, have a stronger case than the bats, as the average earned run average of the World Series winners is slightly better than the batting average and slugging percentage of the offense. These teams also had more total top 10 showings in pitching categories rather than hitting ones by a score of 36-30. Of course, none of this is to say that a team that is big on the bats during the regular season can't be the last team standing. For instance, in 2011, the Cardinals and the 2009 Yankees both ran the table primarily on the strength of their sticks or batting. But it can be done the other way too. The 2010 Giants and the 2005 White Sox more or less won their rings by riding their pitching staffs. If there's one takeaway in all of the above, perhaps it's this: while at least one of the past 10 World Series champions ranked in the bottom half in each of the 6 hitting categories explored, Not a single one finished in the bottom half in runs allowed or ERA. In conclusion, while it is always impressive to look at offensive stats, and we know chicks dig the long ball in baseball, we can tell in the end defense wins championships. Richard Sherman, who's a cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks and one of the best defensive players in the NFL, said this: "The number one motivation through these playoffs and in the Super Bowl was doubt. Some said Denver's offense would outgun us. They said nobody cares about defense anymore. Offense wins championships. But we took pride in being number one in a lot of categories. We wanted to cement our legacy as one of the best defenses to ever play in the NFL, and we did that. Go Hawks."